Hello and welcome to the third annual Reduce, Reuse, Recycle Palooza. Tonight we are hosting our second webinar of the week, and it's called the Reuse Showcase. The impetus for tonight's webinar came from the positive feedback we received from our Summer of Reuse newsletter series. I don't know if you all read that, but we got a lot of happy expressions of joy that we were covering reuse and promoting it. And so we wanted to bring you even more on that theme, and that's why we asked our wonderful panelists to talk tonight. We are very excited to make you aware of the organizations on our panel of speakers tonight, and they are true, I just want you to know they're true doers. They're doers in the sense that they see a need and they found a way to meet that need. So we are just very happy and thrilled that they were able to come and speak with us. Before we get started, I want to run through our agenda so you have an idea of what we'll be talking about tonight. We'll begin showing you how to use the chat function, and then we'll make our introductions. And then I'm going to take a minute to define our terminology so that we're all on the same page on what reuse means. And then we'll get straight into our speaker presentations. And then once they've had a chance to speak, we will get into questions. You guys will, the audience will be, we'll be happy to take your questions. So first things first, let's talk about how this webinar will be run. You will note that there is a black strip at the bottom of your screen, maybe at the top, but it's this line here. And in that strip, you should see a little thought bubble icon and the word chat. If you click on that, you'll open the chat box. And as you can see on the screen, you can type your questions into the chat box and press enter to send. I will read your questions aloud for the panel to address. I believe that I have it set so that everyone's mic is off and that their videos are off to avoid distractions. We ask that you please do not unmute yourself. And then if we have time, though, at the end, we might be able to welcome people to unmute themselves for questions and discussions. It really just depends on how we're doing with time. And again, I want to remind you that this webinar is recorded. So my name is Janice Paré, and I work in the Municipal Waste Reduction Branch at MassDEP. I'll be the host for tonight. I'm joined by my excellent, wonderful, lovely coworker, Kat, who will be checking the chat and adding links as needed tonight. The lady in the middle here is our boss, Brooke Nash. She's an integral part of our team, and she's not with us tonight, but I just wanted to give her a shout out, even though we are missing her tonight, but she is basically the brains behind our operation. Next, I'd like to introduce our speakers. We've got Mark Vanderwerf from Fresh Start Furniture Bank. Next up, we will hear from Donna Neely from the Great Exchange. Then we'll hear from Margie Bell of Recyclable. And lastly, we'll hear from Kathy and Walter Doyle of Urban Missionaries of Our Lady of Hope. So now it's time to define our terminology. I'm sure you've all heard of the 3 R's, reduce, reuse, recycle. It's in the name, Reduce, Reuse, Recycle Palooza. But this is known as the waste hierarchy. Reduce is the first R in the waste hierarchy because it's the R that has the most impact on waste reduction. When we choose to reduce, think when we say no to single-use plastic item or something like that, we prevent waste by not making that waste in the first place. The second R, which is what we're focusing on tonight, is reuse. Reuse is using what you already have repeatedly or making it available for others to use when you're done with it. It's the second most impactful way of reducing waste. We talk a lot about the gifting economy and buying or selling secondhand goods in our social media posts through RecycleSmart. We think these are easy ways to improve your reuse efforts. And so we hope that you'll, after listening tonight, you might be more inspired to do things like that. All of our speakers tonight are passionate about their mission-driven reuse organizations. And I think you'll be impressed with the reuse opportunities they've created in different parts of Massachusetts. We are very grateful for their efforts and excited to hear from them tonight. So without further ado, I'd like to pass the baton to Mark to get us started. I'm going to stop sharing. Go ahead, Mark.
So everybody, I'm Mark Vanderwerf. I'm a volunteer at the Fresh Start Furniture Bank. This is just a quick picture of some of our crew. What we are is we're a furniture bank. It's a volunteer-run charity that helps restore dignity, hope, and stability to our community by recycling and reusing donated furniture and housewares for free for people in need. Secondary goal you can see right there. These are kind of the people we serve. So we're serving a wide variety of people in need who are being rehoused or are getting a home sometimes for the first time. And it falls into a number of categories. We accept donations of furniture, mattresses, home goods, etc., into our facility. We also accept new items, of course. Anyone that comes to us is referred to us by a social service agency, and then they have some time to come to us and shop for the goods to make their home. Kind of a look at our process. This is how it comes in. We have a fairly strong social media and traditional media focus that generates interest from individuals who bring us goods, and also they're able to buy us things directly on our site from Amazon and from Target. We do pickups. We do those pickups within 20 minutes of our headquarters. We do charge a small fee for that. We have people come to us and bring their goods. We have moving companies that have excess that bring it in. We have surplus from other stores, warehouses that come in. We work with transfer and reuse stations to pick up materials that people bring to the transfer stations. And we also participate in community events. Everything comes to us, it's inspected. It has to be in good working quality products that can be used by someone else. After all, they're setting up their home. The goods come to our warehouse where we do some service and repairs. We also recycle things from those repair areas like textiles, metals, and cardboard. And you'll see this is a very large operation. Even though we have a very large operation, we have fairly minimal waste, less than 4 yards per month. Everything is then taken out of service repair or the warehouse. It's sorted, it's cleaned, it's disinfected, etc. And then it's put into inventory. We have a fairly sophisticated inventory system that puts a QR code on everything, which allows us to tell what it is, who picked it, when it was picked, etc. And we also generate metrics, not only to run our operations, but also to help the agencies that we work with be able to tell, who was served, what was served, how were they served, etc. That helps the charities that we partner with to justify their operations too. And then outbound, the clients come to us, they're referred by an agency, they schedule a visit, they come to our warehouse, and when they arrive, they're given an iPad. And on that pad, they basically shop for their goods. All of our inventory is in there. They're able to choose the goods that they feel go best for their needs. And this is, for me, a kind of an interesting point of empowerment. These people are directly involved in now furnishing their home. They're linked with an internal shopper who advises them and helps them. And the system actually calculates the cubic footage of what they're ordering so that we put in the size of vehicle they've come with, and we can tell them when they're getting full. Well, as you can imagine, the tough thing is they shop too much and they just can't get in their truck. Then the movers take over. They receive the orders on their cell phones. They use their cell phones to pick materials out of our inventory using the QR code. That also identifies for us who picked it, when they picked it, where it went. Everything's picked and packed. We load their vehicle at our station, and then we close out the order, and hopefully from that we've got a happy client, and we also generate reports back to our agency partners. This is kind of that was the graphic. This is the picture. We have do our pickup in a truck. Again, these are within 20 to 25 minutes of our facility. We do charge a donation for that. The vast majority of goods comes in directly from users. They back up their pickups or their trucks or sometimes moving vans and drop off the goods. This is an example of a reuse center we work with. They got a micro grant to pay for those storage lockers so they can accumulate the goods to a time when we can pick them all up. We do community events down here in the corner, and actually these are both community events where we really can bring in a lot of goods, from this happens to be a big apartment complex, but areas like that. It comes in, there's our warehouse with everything stacked up. In the upper left, we clean it, we check it out. If it needs any repairs, it goes to Forrest, our smiling man in the middle, who does all kinds of furniture and woodworking repair. We take it to Mark and other volunteers who repair small appliances, fans, lamps, lights, vacuum cleaners, etc., that are not quite working properly. We also do some seamstressing to repair upholstery, etc. We also have outside social organizations that come and help us. And in the end, everything ends up in our warehouse. Everything is photographed, everything is inventoried. And because there's a focus on reuse and recycling, we're going to focus just on one of the things we handle, which is linens. We handle many other things, but this is a deep dive. So bedding, towels, tablecloths, placemats, everything comes in, it's cleaned, it's inspected, and if it's not good enough for our clients, it's sorted for reuse. Some of it we use internally to wrap fragile items, mirrors, artwork. Some are used as cleaning rags. Some are donated to animal shelters that need the rags, and they're reused there. Again, this is a deep dive on linens. If they're not good enough for our clients, they're reused. And here's the ways that we use them. We use them internally for rags and so on. We can give them to animal shelters. They're are bagged and sent to Bay State Textile Recycling. So far this year, we've dropped out 13,000 pounds. Now, you'll see this reused in things like carpet pads or house insulation or house wrap. And this is the end of our process, loading the truck and seeing our happy clients go off to build a new home. This kind of gives you a profile of some of our clients. Here's our youngest client. I think this is probably about 2 months old. And it gives you a profile of our volunteers, everything from high school to retired. Here's one of our original founders here and some of our other clients as they come and as we fill up their trucks so that they can bring it to their homes. And this is the end result. People with homes that now give them hope and security to start a new life. This is kind of an idea of kind of the volume that we do. So on the left is our quarterly report, Q3 this year. And at that point, we had served 404 families in 2022, including, obviously 722 adults, 565 children, over 1,200 people served. And we had distributed over 24,000 household items. The agencies that we serve 583 agencies across Massachusetts. It leaks a little bit over into some bordering states, with vast majority of Massachusetts. We serve clients. We've served now 460. This data is newer than the end of Q3, totaling almost 3,000 clients. We've distributed 29,200 items this year, totaling 129,000 items since we started. Landfill, again, remember I told you that our system calculates cubic footage to help us estimate how much can fit into a truck. Well, it also tells us how much we avoid in cubic footage. If you imagine a football field, 100 yards long, 50 yards wide, 12 feet deep, that's what the landfill that we've avoided with our operation. And it's all done by one part-time paid employee and 164 volunteers, putting in over 16,000 hours per year. We received a MassDEP micro grant, and this is what we did with it. We built a brand new loading dock at truck level that seals out the weather as these trucks come in. It allowed us to make the significant improvement. The new truck bay allows us to bring in large trucks, but it also allows us to have 2 bays loading at once, the original bay and this bay. So it's increased our capacity, our efficiency, and ease the workload on our people because it's right at truck level. on days like today, cold, windy days, the thank you that we have here probably goes to hero worship because we're not out in the cold. So thank you very much. And that's Fresh Start. Thanks.
Thanks, Mark. So, yes, Donna Neely, please share your slides with us.
Thank you. I really appreciate everyone making time to attend this reuse showcase, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to tell you about the Great Exchange. The Great Exchange is an alternative solution for resources that commercial, industrial, and service entities cannot use internally. And an example of this is shown in the picture below, where a gentleman is surrounded by foam rings that came with incoming deliveries to a biopharmaceutical company in the area. They're not able to put these foam rings to reuse internally. So rather than toss them into a dumpster, he packs them all up and brings them to the Great Exchange, where they find reuse opportunities, either as packing materials by other businesses or for use in creative activities at daycare facilities and in art classes. The Great Exchange is a program of the Devon's Eco-Efficiency Center, which is a nonprofit that provides a variety of programs and services that help institutions improve the sustainability of their operation. We started the program back in 2007. It was intended to be a one-time event to hopefully promote the reuse of 22 different types of materials that were going into the dumpster on a regular basis, but had reuse potential by a handful of businesses, schools, and nonprofits that were located in Devon's. Since that event was thankfully a great success, and since then, year over year, we've continued to expand the program so that today the Great Exchange offers more than 800 different types of items that are made available to for the benefit of entities located across the state line, as well as in other states for less than half of their retail value. Our growth has been supported by a grant that we received from the DEP that enabled us to hire new staff, improve our signage and marketing materials, obtain a cargo van, and purchase various things that help us operate much more efficiently. We recover our resources in any way that we can. Some come in as a one-time event, as you see it in the picture above, or others are brought to us on a regular basis. Sometimes they're dropped off, sometimes we go and pick them up, and most often they're pursued because we learned of an opportunity to recapture valuable materials that were destined for the trash bin. Everything that we have is either new or in nearly new condition and does not have any hazardous components. We don't take in electronics or household items. And when we do receive household items, we are happy to pass them along to our partners, Fresh Start. We source our inventory from manufacturers, retail and commercial operators, municipal entities, and nonprofits. The diversity of these sources helps us have a very extensive inventory that includes manufacturing byproducts, dated inventory, excess operating supplies, unneeded furniture, and most often abandoned items that were abandoned, particularly when a business has closed or relocated. The Great Exchange provides a variety of environmental, economic, and social benefits. We help conserve valuable resources by facilitating their reuse and preserve resources by preventing the need to buy something new. We provide cost savings to schools, libraries, municipal departments, nonprofits, and small firms. We don't make our inventory available to the general public because we prioritize providing value to these types of entities. And by providing them with cost savings, they're in a position to invest more of their funds in the important programs, services, and jobs that they're providing to their community. And of course, as you can see, we have lots of happy shoppers. On average, we will have about close to 500 different shopping trips made to the Great Exchange each year, and it's growing. So because I always tell people you have to see it to believe it. So I'd like to take our next few minutes to bring you on a virtual tour of the Great Exchange. We'll start in our classroom department where we have all kinds of teacher resources, fun things that can be used for student awards. We have a large shelving unit filled with science resources, including beakers and test tubes and petri dishes and microscopes and lab coats and safety glasses. We have a makerspace shelf that has all kinds of nuts and bolts and pulleys and hooks and strapping and poles that can inspire the imagination. Moving over to our playtime area, we have all kinds of pails and shovels and frisbees and dress-up items. We have new stuffed animals and books that are particularly appreciated by daycare facilities and grammar schools, as well as a shelf of educational games for all ages. We have tons of creative materials. This is the department that's most fun because it includes traditional and non-traditional items. So that would include ribbons and beads and stamps and yarn and different fabrics, lots of wood and tile pieces that we received from an architectural design firm. They're sample pieces. We have lots of crafting kits, all kinds of fun poster paper of various colors, and lots more in creative. Then our office supply is also really extensive. The majority of what is here is also brand new in its original packaging. We have binder clips and paper clips of all shapes and sizes, pens, pencils, markers, scissors, Post-it notes, envelopes of all sizes. Moving on, we have tape dispensers, staplers, adding machines, binders, binder inserts, every type of paper and label you could ever need, and lots of desk organizers and more. We have we have a shelving unit dedicated to cleaning supplies. Again, you can see what's there is primarily new containers, new products. We have lots of items for health and safety, and we have shelves that will hold seasonal decorations and gifts. We have all kinds of fun, a nice collection of tools and containers, storage bins of all shapes and sizes, packing and all kinds of packing materials. Now we'll transition to our furniture and fixtures, where we have lots of different tables and chairs of various styles, shelving units, carts, storage bins, filing cabinets, whiteboards, bulletin boards, literature racks, pictures, lots of janitorial items, including trash bins and recycle bins and bathroom products. And if you name it, we have it. And if we don't have it today, it's very likely we'll have it tomorrow. So now that you know about the Great Exchange, I hope that we can partner to prevent more waste, to further prevent waste. Please do come and shop for items that your organization may need or may be interested in. We have 2 locations in Devens that are open Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, as well as the first Saturday of each month. If you check out our website, you can see pictures of all of our inventory, and we have a very active Facebook page. And please help us spread the word so that more organizations can benefit from our inventory and the cost savings that we provide, and help us connect with inventory sources. It's always been my experience that donors are very happy to learn about the alternative solution with the Great Exchange so that they don't have to throw away good stuff, and they can also save money with avoided disposal costs. Please feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions or would like additional information. And again, thank you for your time.
Thank you, Donna. Thanks for the tour. Love that.
My pleasure.
I can vouch for the fact that Donna is meticulous in the things that she will select, and the organization is amazing. It's truly a wonderful site. So thanks, Donna. Our next speaker is going to be Margie Bell from Recyclable.
Hi, everyone. As Jana said, I'm Margie Bell. I'm one of the co-founders of Recyclable, and my co-founder Ulrika Mueller is also on the call. And what we do is we provide restaurants with a way to offer reusable takeout containers as an alternative to single use. So what motivated us? The pandemic certainly was a motivating fact, but the facts stand that over 70% of Americans are ordering takeout, up to 3 times a week. And it's very difficult. Less than half can really correctly identify which types of containers can actually be recycled. And the end result is just an awful lot of single-use waste every day. In the pandemic, some of the data shows that takeout increased by about 15%, and restaurants are believing that that this increase in habit will persist. So that's maybe some of the bad news side of this from waste. But the good news is that the National Restaurant Association did rank sustainable, reusable, and recyclable packaging as an important trend that they were looking at in 2022. So some of this, for those on the call, this is probably not news, but I'll sort of quickly as a, restate the facts. So there's a number of containers that we see typically for our takeout that a large percentage of the population believe are recyclable, but are not. So things like black plastic, or those paper cartons that are plastic coated, or the styrofoam cups. So none of those are recyclable. They all are waste. The last one might be the most surprising one. I know it was the most surprising one to us as we started on this journey. There's a belief that compostable containers are the answer. But in fact, the data shows that they actually have a greater environmental impact than their single-use alternatives. They're single use. So there's, of course, all that energy that goes into manufacturing and transporting them only to be used once. But the bigger challenge is that these containers typically are used on the go, and so get thrown into the garbage, and they only actually compost if they're placed in a high heat industrial composting facility. So and the challenge we've further learned is that a lot of restaurants are paying a premium for those containers to do what they believe is the right thing. So what about us? So we established ourselves in the spring of 2021. So in the midst of the pandemic, we're 2 co-founders who have spent our careers working in the software development. And this is very much a passion project of ours, where we're really trying to apply all those skills we've learned over the last 20 years to help to scale the circular economy. So how does it work? So I'll start from restaurants' perspective. So the restaurants that work with us, they sign up and we work with them to figure out the number of containers that they'll need to start with, and approximately how many uses they would get out of those containers in a month. And then from that point, they'll set up their online ordering to reflect this as an option. Customers place the orders, the restaurant packs them in the recyclable, in these reusable containers, and then customers drop them back at the restaurant sanitize and wash them, and reuse them again, saving a lot of waste. From the customer's perspective, so we have an app, that's our tech skills coming into play. So we have an app where customers sign up, and it's free for customers to use the reusables as long as they return them within 2 weeks. So we give them 2 weeks to return them. They show up at the restaurant to pick up their order. They scan a QR code. It's much like borrowing a library book. They confirm the number of bowls they're taking with their order, and they go off and they enjoy their takeout. We ask that they rinse before they return them, although the restaurants, of course, always wash and sanitize them again.
Hey, Marty, I think your slide did not advance for that one.
Huh. It did for me. Does it advance now?
Yes, now we see how it works for customers.
Oh, okay, for some reason it was fine for me. All right, so now I'll go to the next slide. Hopefully that works. So here's our numbers. So we're very early in this game. So we have 4 restaurant partners that have joined with us that are really committed to reuse. Our first partner is a cafe in my hometown of Arlington that really joined with us as partners and really helped us to learn the restaurant business and build a solution that worked as smoothly as possible for the restaurants. We have over 275 users who have signed up with our app, a greater than 95% return rate on the containers. And my favorite fact, and this number just keeps growing, is we've served to date over 800 meals using less than 80 containers, and the containers still have lots and lots of life left in them. So on the one hand, these numbers are small and it's the tip of the iceberg, but on the other hand, if to have some perspective, Boston has about 3,000 restaurants, and if each offered reusables and just a fraction of customers adopted, because right now that's the way we see it in the various restaurants, we'd still save over 1 million containers from the waste stream every year. So it has the ability to be impactful, even if only a small percentage of the population chooses this option. So from the restaurant opportunity, there's been, well, I'll start at the bottom one. So our real commitment is to keep the cost as fair as possible and as aligned as closely as we can to single use, certainly compostables. But I think the other opportunities that we hadn't really thought of that came up as we worked with our restaurant partners is it gives them a predictable supply of containers. So they've struggled a lot with supply chain challenges over the pandemic of ordering containers and not being able to get the containers, or they can get the bases, but they can't get the lids. And the nice thing about these reusables is they self-replenish. They just keep coming back. Space was another thing that we worried a bit about because it's another container. They tend to be bulkier. But similarly, one of our restaurants said to us, it actually allows us to save space because if we can shift enough customers to reusables and need so few to serve those customers, we don't need to store as many single-use containers. So ironically, we were worried about bulky containers being a space challenge, but in fact, there's, I think, a potential for space savings in the long run when this is operating at scale. So I'm going to give you a quick case study from Germany, and to give you a little bit of background, Ulrika and myself were working for a software company based in Berlin for a couple of years, and we had seen this starting there. There's legislation that was initiated by the European Union, and each country has their own mandates associated with it. So Germany has a mandate that says reusables must be offered by all restaurants alongside single use by the beginning of 2023. So that's resulted in a large amount of adoption and availability of this. And one of the leading providers there is a company called Vital, and they've saved over 4.5 million containers from the waste stream since September of 2019. So those are pretty compelling numbers. But the good news is, that the US is really joining in this movement too. So we're not alone at Recyclable. There are reuse providers popping up all over the country. And a lot of us collaborate through what's called the National Reuse Network, where we share our learnings and sort of work together to really get this operating throughout the country. So the societal opportunities. So another sort of data fact. So there's a collaborative effort between in Seattle with Reuse Seattle, and coming out of that, organization called PR3 did a study that showed that if we get standards in place and we align on efficiencies, reuse can save up to 80% of climate emissions compared to single use. So that's a pretty motivating fact that keeps us going. And beyond the, there we go. Beyond the that ability to reduce climate emissions and also the plastic pollution, it also just results in cleaner public spaces. I mean, what we're all doing hopefully helps to result in cleaner public spaces because there's less litter. And the hope too is that, again, at scale, there's an infrastructure that that creates jobs within the local economy as we move these goods around and wash them and reuse them. And sort of in closing, our focus is really these three parts. We hope to have impact by building community awareness through events like tonight and the opportunity to speak about what we're doing while we work on sustainable solutions, such as the app we've been building. And then we hope that legislation will come along and will really help us to make this mainstream as we've seen in Europe. And I just, finally want to say, just like everyone else, we're very grateful for the micro grant we received that really helped us to accelerate some of our development. So thank you very much.
Oh, we were happy to support you. We're really hoping that, through your talking about this and publicizing it through Recycle Smart, that more people will become aware of this option. Because I think some people kind of like in the back of their mind, they're like, wish that this could be a thing. And so the fact that you guys are creating it as a thing, it's really exciting. And I'm hoping that more people will ask about it. So if you're at a restaurant and you'd really wish you could have a reusable takeaway container because you're going to come back, let those restaurant owners know so they can get involved with Margie, or there are other companies too, but it's a growing wave.
Exactly.
So the last speaker, last but not least, we're going to hear from Walter and Kathy Doyle from Urban Missionaries of Our Lady of Hope. And we're very excited to hear from them.
So, as I said, with the Urban Missionaries of Our Lady of Hope, just kind of a pre-thought here. We kind of backed into this whole thing. We started off as a Catholic social action ministry by sponsoring refugee families. And the way we got into it was when a family would come, the only thing they would have would be a plastic bag with their x-rays in it, because you can't come to the United States if you have TB. And so when we had a family come, we would start calling people and saying, hey, do you have an extra bed? Do you have an extra refrigerator? Do you have this? Do you have that? And so we started collecting things for these families. And so we kind of backed into where we are today. We're a freestanding, self-supporting ministry. We're not supported by any organization, government program, or church. We are sustained by the donations, grants, and gifts, as well as money realized from our programs and recycling efforts. So we're on the bleeding edge most of the time. Go ahead.
So this has been since 1979 that we've been collecting reusable household items for newly arrived refugee and immigrant families. And you can see by this picture, sometimes it was quite a challenge. But as we did this, we realized, and we met other people in the communities that needed the same kind of services. So it expanded to become the little store, actually, and we'll talk a little bit more about this later.
Right. So we have a bunch of different programs that we offer. So we have the retail programs, providing gently used items. We do between 50 and 100 families a day come into the store 6 days a week, 52 weeks a year. It's turned into quite an operation. The Christmas Giving Program, which we're in the middle of right now, serves over 1,500 families. We're going to do probably between 10 and 12,000 gifts this year, given the size of the number of people that are signing up. And this is where we had our first epiphany about the environment, when Pope Francis came out and said, hey, everybody, no, we can't do this to the earth. So we sat down as a small group and we looked around and we said, we have a ton of trash at Christmas time because everybody wraps their gifts up, and they pack them in boxes, and as the picture sees. And unfortunately, when we pass these out, the mothers don't want the gifts wrapped. Okay, they're not going to give a package to their child unless they know exactly what's inside that package. And so we had this pile of trash. So then we started out, we had at the time like 65 different organizations. We said, please don't wrap your gifts. And we do that every year now. We've kind of estimated that when we first started out, we were saving about 2,000 rolls of wrapping paper just by not wrapping the gifts.
We have a food program at 2 locations in the city of Worcester. And you can see that one picture of Walter and a volunteer getting ready for Thanksgiving, which will happen next week. And the other picture is the normal food shelves where people come and shop. They can come twice a month.
Right. And we're supported here by the Worcester County Food Bank, provides most of the food. Plus, we also have to go out and buy food at our other location. And we pay retail price for that, but we still pass it out to the families.
Because our roots are in refugee resettlement, we still spend a lot of time with immigrants and what they need. And so we provide some citizenship tutoring and some help with services. We do some English language tutoring. And then we recently started an employment skills training for refugee high school students. And so all in all, we serve probably 125 people per year.
We had somebody came and gave us $374,000 to buy a 3-family house so that newly arrived refugees would have a place to live at a very low rent. We charge $800 a month in the city of Worcester for these families. And the idea here is that they can start to learn how to become good tenants and then learn how to become good property owners, and meanwhile saving some money so that they can move on and buy a home of their own. And we've had 2 families go down that road so far in less than 3 years. So we're kind of really excited about this operation. The little store is the beehive of most of our activity. And we love the thing that was sent out, ever donated furniture and wonder what happened to it. Well, here's what happens to it. We are very selective about the donations we receive. We turn down 3 out of 5 requests for people to have donations either delivered to us or to go out and pick them up. We believe that these refugees families and these low-income families deserve the very best. We hold them very close to our heart. We want the very best for them. And so we become somewhat kind of a very watching what comes through the door, if you will. We occupy 7,000 square feet, and it's open Monday through Saturdays. In preparing for this talk, we did a quick check because we don't monitor this very much, but in the week ending October 30th, we moved 920 recyclable items out of that store to 374 different families. And that's not our biggest week. We've had bigger weeks where the numbers get higher, particularly in the summertime when we're running our flea market at the same time.
Our mission is to make sure that the poorest are able to obtain items on an equal setting with people who are more well off, and to make sure that what we offer them is of the highest quality we can get. What we tell volunteers who come and our paid staff is that if you wouldn't wear it, then don't put it out. If you don't want to sit in it, then don't put it out. And that's sort of a mantra.
When the items come in, they're stored in these 40-foot containers. We have 3 of them. And
Thank you to Mass Reuse for
thank you, Mass Reuse, for the last one. And then they moved into the sorting area. And this is our sorting area, okay? And it's like this all the time. Stuff is just coming in and it's moving out toward the store, okay? Here it gets inspected and priced. We ask for small donation on every item. And then the stuff that's not good enough gets put into our recycle program. So this is some of our little store rack space, the floors and how it's set up. And the items that we have coming through all the time. We have 2.5 people part-time who just constantly are taking stuff, packing it up, putting prices on it, cleaning it up, and getting it ready for the store. It just keeps rolling through the store. And you can see we take everything. We've had sinks and toilets and machines and lawnmowers and everything else in the store. We don't hold back anything for anything a family can use.
So when we can't use an item, so we try to be very select, but when we can't use an item, we do move it to a recycling room and decide what can be salvaged out of it. For example, wires or copper or any metals.
Right.
For clothing, we have a partner with Planet Aid who takes the clothing that we can't use. We can't keep clothing on the floor forever. So if after 3 months it doesn't go, or if it's not usable, Planet Aid will take it where they recycle it into rags or paper, possibly.
Right. And just as a factoid, I looked it up today. Our recycling revenue so far this year, from July 1st to now, is just under $10,000 of reclaimed metal and clothing and other recyclable items. And that helps keep the store alive. That keeps us alive.
So again, we want to say thank you to Mass Reduce, Reuse, and Repair for the storage container.
Yeah.
It is our, we have a large parking lot, so we're able to use the parking lot to help us store items and keep the shop full without overusing our storage space in the back warehouse.
So if you'd like some more information, you can find us at revolutionaries.com. And we'd love to talk with you. We'd love to have you stop by the store and take a tour and buy something. It all helps. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kathy and Walter. I just want to say I love what you guys do with your recycling efforts, because MassDEP, we're moving from one Winter Street where we've been for 40 years, almost 45, to a new building, and we're downsizing to 1 floor from 5. It used to be bigger, and we just have so much stuff, and it's like hard to consider how you're going to get rid of all this stuff in a way that makes sense, environmentally. So bravo to you guys for figuring it out. And I'm going to make some of the people that I work with watch this so they can see that it's possible. So I'm going to go back just to share my screen and question time. So I saw that we did have a few questions. I'm going to go back here. So yeah, Fresh Start is in Hudson. So this is a question for Fresh Start. Mark, how do you identify and select the social services referral partners? Do they come to you or do you seek them out?
At this point, we've established a lot of these relationships, but people can still seek us out.
So they would just go to your website.
Right. And the website details, gives them a tremendous amount of assistance as to how they can connect with us. You know, what's the process to become an agency that we can partner with.
And so someone else asked, and I'm guessing this is for you. If I have a lamp that doesn't work, will you take it?
If the lamp doesn't work, but it's in good condition and all the parts are there, yes, we've taken those.
Because you have your repair people. Yeah, that's great.
But it's got to be complete. We'll check it out when we're on.
So Walter and Kathy, if you've got a lamp that doesn't work, if someone asks you to take that, would you take it? I can't tell if they're on mute.
They're on mute.
Okay.
I'm sorry. No, we wouldn't take that. You know, we're not in that business.
You don't have the repair.
We don't have the repair and we don't have the labor, and it, you know, takes away from our mission.
So this is actually for Donna and Mark and Walter and Kathy. Are you in need of certain items that are in great demand? I'll start with Mark.
Yeah, based on the demand that we're seeing right now, we are in constant need of household items, small appliances, linens, furniture. Some of the furniture items that really seem to go fast are end tables, dining room tables, dining room chairs. Seem to be in high demand right now. We also publish on our webpage on at least a weekly basis kind of what we need. So the people that are following our webpage can kind of be updated all the time as to what our needs are. And our crew is really good about identifying what those needs are and asking people for help. So check out our website, which is also in the chat.
Great, thank you. So Donna, is there anything you guys get so much stuff. Is there anything in great demand that you don't have?
More space to hold everything that we have.
Square footage?
Yes, definitely. But other than that, I mean, we are always grateful to take things when they become available. But probably the two most popular requests are for office chairs that are in very good condition, the desk chairs, and copy paper, preferably the 8.5 by 11. We have a lot of the larger sizes, but can't keep up with the interest in the 8.5 by 11 size.
Okay.
It's good to know. Kathy, Walter, is there anything?
Yeah, we need the basics. We're looking for you know, clean underwear, socks, sheets, bedding, all the consumables, you know, that people just use and never use up. Towels, face cloths. Those are the things that we're always in need of. You know.
That's good to know. I mean, we always, when I give a gift, I want to make sure somebody, you know, needs it and wants that gift. So it's always good to know.
Yeah.
What about Mark, where do you guys find your volunteers, or how do you find your volunteers?
Actually, that's something that I don't actually know the full answer to. The organization is about 19 years. I'm sorry, it's 12 years old, and over the years we've accumulated such great volunteers that a lot of our volunteers come because other volunteers tell them to volunteer. I don't know how Sue and Jeff really started getting that moving forward, but we've kind of created a very happy family. So other people now want to be members. So we're looking always for good quality volunteers, but so far we've really been very lucky to get people to join our family.
So here's another question. I think that probably it's, you know, for Walter and Kathy, and then it was directed to Mark. But does the need from clients exceed your capacity to serve them? In other words, would you expand if funding and resources were not an issue?
Absolutely. I mean, we're dealing right now with just the city of Worcester. We love to be in the city of Springfield, Fall River, wherever. But it's funding to expand. That's the thing. But it's not that we don't have the items to sell, put in the store. I mean, we're getting buried since last November, maybe 10 calls a day, eight to 10 calls a day. People trying to, have us come pick up stuff. And it's just not that much demand. We can't, in the city of Worcester, but we surely know there are other cities that can definitely use the help.
Do you have a network that you can, if somebody's outside of your sort of radius, do you point them to a different?
We don't have a radius.
Okay, you take it from everybody.
We'll go
go
anywhere
everywhere.
as long as they give us, we'll have to pay the pickup fee, But we've been down the Cape, we've been in New Hampshire, New York, Connecticut. We're desperate. We take it all.
And
If it's
people,
good.
and people come to us from, I would say, probably Worcester and surrounding towns, definitely, and sometimes further than that.
Yeah.
So this message is actually for Margie. This person wanted to know what your resource was for when you said that compostables have a greater impact than single use. And I just want to clarify that compostables are single use, but
Yeah.
I think he's looking for the resource where you got that information.
Yeah, and I think I put 2 links in the chat. So one is a link from Beyond Plastics and another is from Upstream Solutions. There's many more, but I did put 2 in the chat that give some of the information behind that.
Oh, okay. Thank you. I did not see that one. And then just for our listeners who listen later, can you return the container to a different restaurant than you received it from? I saw that Ulrika had answered this, but I'll go let you answer it.
Yeah, exactly. So that's our goal. So right now, I think we just by the nature of the restaurants that have been interested are quite geographically distributed, although we have red lentil and roasted granola that are close. And so we've already started to see a little bit of that network effect, but that's our goal. Is we'd love to see a lot of restaurants close together and customers can order takeout from one restaurant one day and drop their containers at another one another day. That's the goal.
And can you speak to a way by which customers can let their favorite restaurants know that they want to see them start using recyclable containers?
Yeah, absolutely. So you can reach out and make a suggestion to us through the website or through our social media. But we also find it's really effective for restaurants to hear it from the customers because then they know it actually matters, right? There's been so much pressure on their business. And I think that when we approach them, it feels like we're selling something and that's not really our intent. I mean, we have to price it fairly to make sure we can sustain the service, but we really do want to legitimately provide them with as easy an alternative as possible. So you can let us know or just let your restaurant know to reach out to us and we're happy to have a very low pressure conversation.
I hate the hard sell. So I just want to, so somebody had asked like who your partners are. Can you name all 4 of your partners and where they are so people know where to go?
Yep. So we started with the roasted granola in Arlington, awesome local business that's about 2 blocks from where I live. Shuby's, which is a food specialty grocery store in Marblehead. The Red Lentil in Watertown, and Judas Kitchen just joined us in Newton. And I also have to mention we have Right Lock Farm in Winchester that's going to be doing fresh made cranberry sauce in our containers for this Thanksgiving so that they don't create waste.
Good.
I just saw a question come up that how can we get these organizations to establish partnerships with more cities and towns? As you can see from our service map, we are connected with agencies all over the state. We do operate only out of Hudson, but we do cover all over the place, 300 and some or 500 and some agencies.
Thank you. Yeah, your map is, yeah, you're pretty extensive. Your services are all over there. So looking here. We got a very inspiring programs from all speakers. Thank you all. So pat on the back. So 2 questions. Margie said black plastic is 100% not recyclable. Last night, Brooke said the tech for black plastic is coming in 2 years. How do those receiving donations? Okay, so that's the first question. So Margie's correct that right now we do not have a way to recycle black plastic. I am not aware of any place that will accept black plastic as a source separated material. I mean, maybe at a transfer station somewhere, but right now we say that black plastic should go in the trash. And just for like, because there's always just so much confusion about compostables. As Margie had said, compostables, you got to take them to a commercial composting facility for them to actually break down and compost. If your restaurant is using compostable bowls and they have a compost bin there for you to put your food in, then they probably are okay with you putting that bowl in there, and therefore it would be fulfilling its purpose. Otherwise, it's just trash. Okay, so the second question, how do those receiving donations of mattresses, I'm going to say, donations of mattresses deal with bed bugs? It's very expensive once one gets them and very hard to determine with visual inspection. So I guess I'll let Kathy and Walter and Mark talk about whether or not they take mattresses and how they deal with the bed bug situation. Mark, you can go ahead. You are on mute.
First of all, we only take mattresses if they are clean and are very presentable. That's a start. The second, we do a visual inspection, and third, they're sprayed before they go into the warehouse.
They are sprayed.
Yes.
Okay. Kathy and Walter, do you take mattresses?
We do. They can't have any rip stains or smells on them, okay? We will not take a mattress from anybody in the city of Worcester. We only rely on towns around us. And that seems to be very effective. In the 40 years that we've been doing it, we've only had 3 mattresses get out with bed bugs. So, we pay attention to them. We're very, very diligent in saying no to people. We saw, and now with the new mattress law coming into effect, we've been hit like on the very first day, the day they announced it, we have 3 people pull up in their cars and said, "Can you take this mattress?" And we said no. I mean,
In general, we try to take mattresses only as part of a full bed,
yeah,
a complete bed, because you asked earlier what's in demand, and beds are high in demand, but we take them only as a complete bed.
Right.
Okay, that's good to know. And then I would just want to point out that Fresh Start puts a post on Facebook and Instagram every Wednesday on their greatest needs. So please consider following them, and Recycle Smart if you're not already. The Great Exchange is welcoming volunteers for all types of activities. So please reach out if you're interested. Devon's is in Central Mass. That was from Donna. How can we help these organizations establish partnerships with more cities and towns? Do you guys have any requests or any ideas on how we might be able to get you partnered up with more cities and towns?
I think it needs some thought about how that would work.
right, yeah, some thought and some funding. That's the big thing. I think that's what we bump against the wall all the time. We're constantly making the decision. do we expand out and do something with the money, or do we keep the money and give it to people who need it to pay rents or bury their loved ones or pay hospital bills and stuff? So we're constantly in that, back and forth. How do you do that?
Okay, well, thank you.
This is Donna. We are, teachers are our primary audience, and we would love to have more teachers come in. That's why we're now open on a Saturdays to make it easier for those that are, located a distance from Devon's. It makes it easier for them to come and visit us, and often they come as a carload, as their own little fun field trip. But we, municipalities are always cash strapped. The budgets are for most municipalities tight. And, we would be very happy to have more municipalities come to shop for their office supplies and other operating needs. And, along with the furniture and fixtures, everything that we have is in, perfect condition for their space. So same with the nonprofits. We would just be very grateful for everyone spreading the word about the Great Exchange.
And we, of course, appreciate spreading the word on Fresh Start as well. We do team with a lot of agencies now, but our business is to serve. So if you can help us get the word out, not only on demand but also on supply, we appreciate it. And follow our website, because it probably provides more information on a weekly basis than you could ever get in a session like this.
I feel like we all feel the same way. We have so much information up on our website. So take a look at all 5 of our web pages and find out more information. Follow us on our social media channels. In fact, I will show you what ours are. And Kat put in the chat, in case you missed it. Oh, sorry, that was from before. She mentioned that tomorrow we have our last webinar, and so you can still register for that. It's called Hidden in Plain Sight, Exploring Mattress and Textile Reuse and Recycling. And they're going to touch on some textile recyclers and reusers and mattress reuse and recycling, so you can finally know what happens to all that stuff that you donate. So with that, I will thank my speakers again. Thank you so much, Margie, Donna, Kathy, Walter, and Mark. Really, really appreciate your time. And I'll give you a round of applause, and we will let you all have a wonderful night. So thank you again.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.